everyone, Michelle here with the Traveling Epicurean. Today I'm going to show you how to make a slow roasted pulled beef taco dinner. You're going to love this recipe. Your kitchen smells like beef bourguignon, except you don't do any of the work that goes into beef bourguignon. There's 3 ingredients in this recipe: salsa, a bottle of red wine, and a chuck roast. And then I'll show you how to make some mango salsa to put on top of the tacos. You're going to love this. I got this recipe from my good friend Christine from Carmel Valley. She entertains a lot, and I fell in love with this recipe. You're going to fall in love with this recipe too. Let's take a look at what we're going to need to get this going. Okay guys, this is super simple. You're going to love this recipe. It's a 3.5 pound chuck roast. I'm going to cut this into 6 sections and sear it off. We have a bottle of red salsa that I get from Trader Joe's. It's a little bit spicy and full of flavor. A bottle of red wine. This happens to be a Cabernet Sauvignon. I have salt and pepper, and that is it. Alright, so let's get this cut up and start searing it in the pan. So I love this recipe because it's a super easy, fail-safe recipe. We're just going to cut it into 6 pieces here. Just cut it right down the middle. And then I'm just going to cut, into 6 pieces. It just roasts a little bit easier when you have it into the 6 pieces instead of one large roast, just like that. Okay, so we have our 6 pieces of chuck roast cut up here. And I'm just going to flavor them. A little salt and pepper. Remember to flavor as you go along always. Right, so we got these all seasoned with the salt and pepper. So let's get these on the stove. Alright, so I've put all 6 pieces in the pan to sear. See that searing right there? We just want a little bit of caramelization. We don't have to go crazy here. It's going to roast in the oven without the cover. So it's going to get even more caramelization by not covering it. And then the sauce is going to get nice and thick. And then the beef is going to fall apart like a pulled pork dish, except this is going to be a pulled beef. So we're going to sear this other side and then the actual sides as well. Look how beautiful that looks. All that beautiful caramelization. So I seared this for about 10 minutes. I started it on a medium-high heat to get the meat in the pan so the olive oil didn't splash. Then I turned the heat up to high for 3/4 of that and really gave it a quick sear. So I'm going to add a bottle of this salsa to the pan. I'm going to add this bottle of red wine only till it's covered about 3/4 the way up. Then I'm going to add the rest of the salsa, just like that. Wow, that's looking beautiful already. So I added the whole bottle of this Trader Joe's salsa in there. And then I added 3/4 of the bottle of red wine. You don't want it to go over the tops of the beef, but you want it up about 3/4 of the way. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir. I'm going to put it back on the stove to heat the salsa and the red wine so it's simmering, and then we're going to pop it right in the oven. Look at the coloring on this already. Really beautiful. You want to bring the salsa and the red wine back up to a simmer. This way you don't have to wait for it in the oven to come up to a simmer. See, you see a little bit of the bubbling down there? So this is ready to go into the oven. I have the oven on 325. And we're going to roast it for about 2.5 hours, and then I'm going to check on it. And actually at the hour marks, I'm going to flip the meat over because we're going to leave the top off so the edges of the meat keep getting caramelized. It's going to be super delicious. Okay, so we seared the chuck roast. We have it braising in the oven for a couple of hours. Let's take a look at how I make my mango salsa. This is what we're going to need for our mango salsa. Let me tell you, this is one of my favorite salsas that I make. It goes with everything. Chicken, fish, beef, you name it. We have our mangoes, our fresh mangoes I'm going to dice up, a sweet onion, limes, Campari tomatoes, a jalapeno, an avocado, fresh cilantro, sriracha, rice wine vinegar, olive oil, and then salt and pepper. So I'm going to dice all of the tomatoes and the mangoes up and the avocado, and we'll get them in this bowl here, and then we'll start to mix it up. Really nice. You're gonna love this one. So this is what we're gonna need for our mango salsa. I have a cup of mango. Actually, I use probably a cup and a half to 2 cups of mango, but one of the mangoes wasn't quite sweet enough, so it's okay. You kind of just got to go with it. So I have a cup of mango, a cup of tomato, a half a cup of finely chopped onion here. I have a half a cup of fresh chopped cilantro, a cup of avocado, and I have 2 heaping spoons of jalapeno. So we're going to add in a couple tablespoons of olive oil, a tablespoon of rice wine vinegar, some salt and pepper, and then I'm going to give it a mix. This salsa is so very delicious. You're going to love this salsa. So we're just going to mix it up, and as the flavors sit, they just build and build and become more delicious. Look how gorgeous that is. That's a really, really pretty salsa. You don't want to overmix because you really don't want the avocado to become a mash consistency. You want to keep it cubed like everything else. And so last but not least in this amazing mango salsa is a squeeze of sriracha and then the juice from 1 whole lime. And you know what? That just really brings it all together and it makes it just so incredibly delicious. Give this a stir, one last stir, and there we go. All right. Well, look what we got going on here. Right, it's been 1 hour. I'm gonna flip all of these pieces and it's going to go back into the oven. But this is smelling amazing. It's filling the whole house with red wine and tomatoes from the salsa and the beef. Oh my goodness. This really is a fun recipe to make the morning of. You know, when you're having your friends over for the football party or whatever get together that you're doing, because it really makes the house smell so delicious. All right, back in the oven for another hour or 2. We're going to check on it every hour. Okay, here we go. This is the 2-hour mark. Oh my gosh. Look at the caramelization that we're getting here, and it is feeling really tender. Look, I put the prongs in there and it starts to fall apart. So not too much longer. I'm going to flip this beef again and maybe like another half hour, 45 minutes. Wow, looking really good, and it still smells so amazing. All right, put this back in the oven. Look how beautiful this came out, really nice. Okay, I'm going to take these pieces and I'm going to put them in my Le Creuset pan here, because that's how I'm going to transport this. Actually going to bring this over to a friend's house. First, I'm going to put this all in the Le Creuset, and then I'm going to start to pull apart the beef. It's steaming up my camera a little bit. This smells so amazing. It's already falling apart. Look at that. Look at that tender beef. Really nice. Then I'm going to skim off some of the oil here. That's just from the marbleized beef, and also from some of the olive oil. And then we're going to pour the juices on the pulled beef after I finish pulling it apart. Really delicious. Ooh. Gosh, that's nice. These are going to make some incredible tacos. Look how tender this meat is. It's juicy and falling apart. I don't like it totally shredded. I like the beef to be in chunks, so you're not trying to figure out, where's the beef in this dish. Now I'm going to show you, this is what I do when I skim off. This is still a little bit hot. So I'm going to hold this on an angle like this. I'm going to take this spoon and I'm just going to skim the top, and that's how I'm going to take all the oil off. This is oil from the beef, a little bit of oil from the olive oil when we first sauteed it, but it's all the fat that's been rendered out as we were roasting it for that 2.5 hours. And I really don't want all that fat in there. We want all the juices below this that has all the flavors in it. So I'm going to finish doing this, and then I'm going to add these juices back to the pulled beef. All right, so look at this. So we have all this beautiful pulled beef that we just roasted. And now the sauce, I have this gorgeous sauce here. I took off a good, oh goodness, 2/3 of a cup of the oil that rendered out of the beef. And then I'm just going to pour some of this sauce on there. I'm going to pour half at a time, and then I'm going to give it a mix. Now I'll probably end up pouring all of it, but you always want to go a little at a time just to make sure. Oh my goodness, that looks amazing. Can't wait to try a piece. I'm going to have to try a piece right now. Really, really good. All right, I'm going to pour some more of this juice on there. Give it another stir. We have all this beautiful beef, and I'm just pouring this gorgeous sauce from all the juices that rendered out of the beef and all the wine reduction and the salsa that all reduced down to make this amazing sauce. Those are going to make some great tacos. All right, we'll have to start building our tacos. Okay, look what we got going on here. Shredded beef that we braised in the oven for a couple of hours. Absolutely gorgeous. Only 3 ingredients: the red wine, the salsa, and the chuck roast. How easy was that? I built this really pretty taco. In case you're having a sit-down dinner, this would be perfect. You could put your fixings out, and the bowl or Le Creuset pot, whatever pot you have, of all this gorgeous shredded beef, and you know, people could help themselves. And then you could put your tacos in some kind of container, like a wicker basket, or if you have another bowl like this. Really nice. This is an absolute make-ahead dinner. You can't beat that. So I think you're gonna really love this. It's gonna be so much fun. Enjoy. Bon appetito. This taco is so delicious. The savory beef braising in the red wine and the salsa for a couple of hours just makes this incredible flavor. And then the sweet mango salsa on top of that. This is perfect for a party or your football kickoff on Sunday. You're gonna love this, and so are your guests. You can find it right on my website, thetravelingepicurean.com. Have a great day. Ciao.